good evening, popular astronomers. It is Friday night. Providing you're watching this on a Friday night, it could be any day of the week, because obviously you can watch and replay this anytime that you fancy. So to me, it's Friday night, but depending on where you are in the space-time continuum, it might not be. But this is Pop Astro Live. Let's just have a quick look here. We've got astronomers on standby to answer your questions, because let's face it, we've all got burning questions that we need to know about the universe. So please feel free to pop them into the comments, and you are bound to get a very educated answer. Very, very impressive. Hello, good evening, Ian. Thank you. Oh, it's so nice. Greetings all from South London. Helena, thank you very much. Art is work. I think that might say, I can't read the rest of it. I'm gonna, Paulina, sweetheart, talk to you later. Something very impressive on the way to you in the post, but we'll talk about that later. Oh, you see, this is what I love. Cross-pollination of astronomers in the chat room with no risk at all of catching a virus, because it's all digital. Isn't that fantastic? One of the benefits of Pop Astro Live, it's a completely COVID safe activity. Wonderful, wonderful. Hello, Sandra Grace. Great to see you, and your fantastic profile picture that I do love so much. So this is Pop Astro Live. We are the Society for Popular Astronomy. Please, everybody, share this video. Good evening, David. Good evening, David. Good evening, David. Oh, it's nice. Everybody's chatting in the chat room already. It's what it's for. Happy talk of astronomy in the chat room. We are the Society for... Hey, Lucy. Hey, Lucy's our special guest in a bit. Hi, Lucy. Great to see you. You're headlining tonight. Love it. So we are the Society for Popular Astronomy. It is your society. So please feel free to comment away in the chat room, share the video, get involved. This is all about feeling part of the club, the top astronomy club, no doubt, the best one. So usually at this time of night, I like to plug the mug. Can you see the lipstick on it? Plug the mug, plug the mug, plug the mug, plug the mug, plug that mug. And what is in the Plug the Mug tonight? Normally I've got bits of dried garlic in it, space stickers, but tonight it's definitely one of the most cosmic substances in the whole universe. Good old H2O from the tap. If you remember last week, it was really musty because I'm in a laundrette on a holiday park. Very unusual place to be broadcasting from. And I don't think the pipe that came out the back of the washing machine where I got my water from had been ran for a while. So I ran the water tonight. So thank you so much for all these. Look, did I have to cut my new shirt off? We'll come to that in a bit. I had quite an embarrassing incident earlier on where I tried on my new SPA t-shirt and I had to practically be cut out of it. So, popular astronomers, darlings, go to popastro.com for our latest mugs, t-shirts and merchandise that you will not have to be cut out from. Okay, tonight we have got 3 superstar guests lined up for you. The first one is a slight mystery guest and very new superstar member of the SPA. Then we've got Heidi Thiemann on, female astronomer who is researching binary stars which might merge and explode in the future. She's also director of the Space Skills Alliance, an organisation tackling the UK's space skills shortage through collecting and publishing data and advising on best practice. We have also got Lucy Williams. She is assistant editor at the Royal Astronomical Society, working on the journal MNRAS, monthly notices of the, I suppose that could be called MONAS, monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society. She's also a disability advocate pushing for greater accessibility and inclusion for disabled people in astronomy and wider STEM. For example, she is a role model for the charity Lightyear Foundation, who work to break down barriers to disabled children taking part in STEM. As a visually impaired person herself, Lucy is particularly passionate about advocating for more inclusive spaces for blind and visually impaired people in astronomy, whether that be at a university level, on social media, or in amateur astronomy. So that's 2 top guests for you. This first surprise guest is going to have to outshine those 2 wonderful people first. So let's see who it is. Let's have a twiddle of me banners here. Let's have a look. Diddly diddly. We can have that there. Get rid of. There we go. And shall we see who's coming to play? 3, 2, 1. It's Nigel Henbest, everybody.
Hi, Vicky. Thank you for having me back. I must have behaved myself last time, sort of.
Thank you. Thank you, Nigel. Yes, so thank you very much for coming back on this evening. How are you tonight, Nigel?
I'm very well, and yeah, I'm just going to speak to everybody out there and say, if you've ever thought that Vicky was a wonderful marketing and salesperson, you're absolutely right, because after our chat a couple of weeks ago, I am now a paid-up member of the Society for Popular Astronomy.
Yay!
Well, I should say I've come back to the fold, because years and years ago, I was a member of the Junior Astronomical Society when I was young, so that was quite some time ago. And they had a magazine called Hermes, which was quite a clever title, because Hermes was a messenger of the gods, even further back in time than that, I suppose. So this was the message being brought to us. And of course, Hermes is the same as Mercury, the Roman god. So that's planet Mercury. But times change, and I suppose if I had Hermes today, I'd be expecting a knock on the door and a parcel delivery. So maybe popular astronomy is it says it's what's on the can. It means so what's inside is what's on the cover. So hi, Paulina, good to see you.
Do you know Paulina?
No, I don't know. Well, only through you, actually, through Pop Astronomy.
Nice.
So that's good.
So great. So Nigel is one of our newest members, and it's £23 a year to join, and you get that magazine every 2 months. A real labour of love for all of the contributors. You've had time to peruse through the magazine, Nigel. Why do you love it so much?
It's got a bit of everything. I mean, as it's years since I last saw it, and we got. There's an article about big telescopes. I love big telescopes. Years back, I used to go across to America and talk to interview the guys making the Keck telescope, which had that segmented mirror. And this guy Jerry Nelson, I beg your pardon. What did I say, Jerry Hall? Where did that come from? Jerry Nelson was making this segmented mirror. So you've got that. You've got
tell us what big telescope. Yeah, what big telescopes have you visited, Nigel?
The Keck, I haven't been traveling off the big telescopes in Chile yet. I was down there for the eclipse last year, but unfortunately, by the time my team got around to booking, the observatories were all booked up there. So I saw them being made. I'll have to go back. But I did see the Vera Rubin Observatory, which has got that huge telescope, which is going to scan the sky every 3 days and pick up everything that's going on when that comes on stream in a couple of years' time. But coming back to the magazine, there's an article about Asteroid Day, why we should be interested in asteroids and if they're going to hit the Earth, practical ones. Also a couple of articles about Mars. And of course, that's very topical because it's been cloudy here and I haven't seen a lot of it. I know you've been out taking a good look at it. But I opened the front door last night and there it was. It whacked me between the eyes, this big red bright thing in the sky. And there's a couple of articles in Popular Astronomy, one on can we actually live on Mars? A bit of a ding-dong battle there. Can we or can't we? And a really good guide to observing it on this particular apparition. So I think that's all really good. And it reminded me of about life on Mars, because we talked about life on Venus last time. So I thought it's about time maybe we came back to thinking about Mars. And is there life there? Is there life there, Vicky? Is there?
Oh my God! Oh, I really want to see, but God, surely, to me, the universe is just one immense petri dish. So it has to be.
Yeah, well, I think so too. I used to be a bit of a pessimist, but I think that if there's going to be life somewhere, it's got to be Mars, because we know that there's water on Mars. There's frozen water. There's ice. Any number of probes have actually seen the ice now, and and the evidence of rivers in the past. You can see the dried up riverbeds, although it's too cold and the atmosphere is too thin to have liquid water flowing now. And there's even signs that on the northern hemisphere of Mars is a huge flat plain. And why is it so flat? And around the edge is what looks like a shoreline. And all the way around the planet, the shoreline is at the same elevation. So something was like a spirit level, making that level. And I think that was a big ocean. It might have been covered in ice, but there was liquid water under it. And life is so versatile that if life existed on Mars, back in its early days when it was warmer and wetter than it is now, then as the conditions change, life evolves. I mean, life can evolve very quickly. There's a story on the news just today, nothing to do with Mars, but children are not growing wisdom teeth anymore because wisdom teeth aren't any use to us these days. Now we're not actually chewing on bits of raw meat anymore. And just in the last 200 years, wisdom teeth are starting to disappear. So microbes on Mars could adapt to the changing conditions. And we know that there are lakes underneath Mars. Another bit of news from last week, actually, a bit overshadowed by Venus, was a radar set on the Mars Express orbiter going around the red planet found evidence for liquid lakes underneath the south polar cap of Mars. So the microbes might have started on the surface when they thought it's getting a bit chilly, here. Let's dive down into the cracks in the rock, and we'll end up in those lakes. So I think there is life underneath, somewhere under the surface, maybe not even that far under the surface.
Ooh, hey Nigel, how about, can you move your camera down a tiny bit, please, so your head goes to the top of the screen? That's it. Then I can fit in the comments. Then look, that's better.
Oh, I see. I think you just want to see more of my shirt. Hello, Kath.
Yeah. Well, Nigel, we can come to shirt wars later, and we'll get the popular astronomers to see who's got the best shirt on.
You won last time, so
excellent.
You're just too popular, Vicky. That's the thing.
Thank you. I wear it so well, that's why. So we've got Michael Barrett here saying he's just been watching Mars rising over the field with his 200mm reflector, currently following it. Beautiful, Michael. God, it looks good at the minute, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm glad you've seen it. I've got trees all around me here, so I need to take my telescope out of the drive or into the road to take a look at it, but good for you.
And Dave Graham says, cold, stiff breeze. I should know. I've been swimming in the sea today in that breeze. So there's a very bright red star rising in the east. Yes. So go and tell people that it's Mars. I mean, I will frequently just grab people and say, did you know that's Mars? Or did you know that's Saturn? Sidewalk astronomy rules.
It's such a shame we can't do that with them at the moment, not being able to talk to strangers. So,
yeah.
So to speak.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't grab anybody. So what kind of searches for life have there been on Mars so far then?
Well, back in the 1970s, NASA sent a pair of probes called the Vikings. Those were amazingly ambitious, if you remember those. Those were the most expensive and ambitious space mission, apart from the Apollo missions, manned missions to the moon. Part of the problem was we didn't want to take microbes to Mars, because if the Earth bugs get there and get into the Martian soil, then we've contaminated the planet. And if we go back and we find bugs, we don't know if they're Martians or if they're bits of Earth. Maybe somebody sneezed on it. Hi, Robin. Good to see you. So maybe somebody sneezed on the spacecraft. So they put the entire Voyager probe inside an oven and they heated it up to sterilize it. So imagine all those electronics and everything being stuck in an oven and heated up. But anyway, it looked for life on Mars, had 4 experiments. And the long and short of it was 3 of them were not really sure. So 2 of them were not really sure. One of them said, yes, there is life. And the other one said, but there's no carbon in the soil. And if there's no carbon in the soil, it means there can't be any bugs, because bugs are made out of carbon. All life is made out of carbon. And since then, this is a little known fact I found when researching my book for Mars a few years ago, that all the American space probes to date have not been looking for living life on Mars since the Vikings. And that's true of Curiosity, which is going now, which is there now. Perseverance, which is on its way, is going to pick up samples to come back to Earth. And the reason is, this is the little known fact, that Congress gave NASA the money. And the guy in charge was Carl Sagan, the great Carl Sagan. He persuaded them to put up the money to go and look for life on Mars. And so when they got these results, Congress came back to NASA and they came back to Carl and they said, so is there life on Mars or not? It is yes or no. And the scientists had to say, well, we really don't know, because the experiments were a bit contradictory. And the politicians, of course, see things in black and white. Politicians don't understand grey. It's either got to be this or that. So they said, well, is it life or isn't it? So NASA had to come down the side of caution and say, well, we can't prove it is, so the answer is no. And after that, they said that NASA, they were not going to mandate NASA. They're not going to give NASA the money to send an expedition to look for life on Mars because NASA had proved there wasn't any life on Mars. And that's the reason why, as opposed to the Europeans, because our ExoMars probe going in a couple of years' time with our little rover called, a big rover actually called Rosalind Franklin, will actually be looking for extant life on Mars because we're not bound by that. So yeah, the search is on at the moment. And one of the interesting things is about methane on Mars. Now, Mars's atmosphere is made of carbon dioxide mainly. It's very thin. But a few years ago, people discovered methane gas, both from observations on the ground and from the orbiting Mars Express mission going around the planet. And methane doesn't last long. I mean, it reacts, it's very reactive. I mean, methane is like that natural gas. Yeah, I agree with you, Desiree. We need to get in there and take a look at those rocks in detail. So something must be creating the methane. And also it comes and goes very rapidly. It'll come during the night and then disappear during the day. So, what is it? And it's difficult for volcanoes or geysers or geysers or whatever to make a lot of methane. And on Earth, if you found methane in the atmosphere, it's probably coming from, how do I put this in a polite way, the hindquarters of cows. Methane is a very potent greenhouse gas, and part of the problem with global warming is the number of cattle in the world producing methane gas. And I'm not saying there are cows on Mars. I mean, we might have spotted them by now if there were, but there could be bacteria on Mars because bacteria they produce gases in the same way as bigger animals. So that's what's really interesting. We're looking for those signatures of different gases on Mars. But do you want to know my strongest argument, really? It's an indirect one, but this is my piece of evidence. I'm going to show you. What does that look like to you?
Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I've got one of them. It's one of those little Mars meteorites, is it?
Oh, look, and I carefully covered up with my finger so you couldn't see. Mars rock, yes. So for those who haven't seen it, inside where my finger is there, inside the white circle of polystyrene plastic is that little speck about 1 millimeter across. It's a piece of rock from Mars. Now, I haven't been there to get it. I wish I could have done. Would have been a nice holiday jaunt. But I've got this, and you've got yours, because asteroids crash into the planets, and asteroids crash into Mars, and they blast out rocks which travel across space, and they then can land on the Earth. So this one landed in the Sahara. A lot of them land all over the Earth, but they're found in deserts because it's easier to see them, or in Antarctica, where you've got the white ice and snow. So rocks are traveling from Mars to the Earth, and conversely, rocks travel from Earth to Mars. If big asteroids hit the Earth, they blast. I mean, one that killed the dinosaurs probably blasted bits of rock all over the solar system. So they're like interplanetary taxis. They're traveling between the planets, carrying their passengers. And if you think about a lump of rock blasted out of the Earth, it's going to have millions or billions of microbes on board. So it's going to land on Mars. So in the early days of the Earth, when there are lots more of impacts, then meteorites from the Earth must have landed on Mars, and they must have been carrying microbes. And Mars was warm and wet at the time, the ideal home for microbes. So we don't have to say, did life start originally on Mars? The microbes from the Earth must have traveled to Mars in their interplanetary taxis. So they must have seeded Mars with life. So as a leading Mars scientist called Charlie Cockell at the Open University, I was chatting to him once, and he said, Nigel, what the greatest discovery about Mars would be? And I said, no, Charlie, you tell me. He said, discovery there's no life on Mars, because that would be incomprehensible. How didn't life get there from the Earth? So it's going to be there. It's either going to be life from the Earth, or I hope it's going to be life that started out on Mars, or maybe they had a bit of a battle royal. The Mars organisms were fighting off the invaders from planet Earth.
Wow, yeah. So is that panspermia?
It is. Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's the idea that life travels from one planet to another. And the big panspermia hypothesis, as you know, is that life might travel from one planetary system to another. Because we know we've had some interstellar visitors now, which we've seen whipping through the solar system, which have come from outside. So if one of those collided with one of our planets, life could come from somewhere else. So maybe we are actually aliens who've come from a different star system. I mean, our distant ancestors.
Wow. Yes. So whenever it was, I think 1999, maybe the Cornwall total washout eclipse. Do you remember that?
I remember when I was in the Channel Lines. I was a bit luckier. I saw a bit of the eclipse. I'm sorry to rub it in.
Well, I remember I was only kind of learning about astronomy then, and I remember we'd stayed in this little holiday cottage, and the night before the eclipse, I was lay there, and suddenly, without ever hearing it before or seeing it on a Horizon documentary, I thought, surely microbes can travel around on taxis in rocks between planetary systems and planets.
Wow. Yeah.
And then the next morning I woke up and it was on a BBC, an astronomy magazine, and it said panspermia, and I picked it up and I went, that was my darn hypothesis.
You should have sent it into the monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society straight off.
Oh, Nigel, thank you so much. Got it. What we have got a very big Mars enthusiast listening this evening. She is Sandra Grace. Let me see if I can get her up on here. Here she is. Could there be life in the water they have found? They are saying the water is possibly salty, and with our seas and oceans being salty and full of light, just a thought I had. Let's have a look. Yeah. What do you think to that, Nigel?
That's absolutely right, Sandra. I mean, one of the interesting things about Mars, it's not a very pleasant place to be. It's really cold. And these lakes, if they're liquid, they're going to be about minus 50 degrees or so. And they can only be liquid if they've got natural antifreeze. In other words, lots of salts, as you're saying, in them, like the Dead Sea. So you have to have bugs which can cope with extreme cold and with extreme salty conditions. And the interesting thing is we do find bugs like that on the Earth, microbes, I should say. Let's be a bit more grown up, microbes rather than bugs. And they're called extremophiles.
Oh, yeah.
And you can get ones that can live in water that's almost boiling. You can get ones which live in freezing water, literally below the freezing point of water, and they actually reproduce in those conditions. You can get ones which live in really salty conditions, even saltier than the Dead Sea. And you can even get ones that live in nuclear reactors. Dinococcen's radiodurans can actually live in nuclear reactors. So, yeah, I mean, bugs have got to be really hardy. But from what we know of life on the Earth, we think we could certainly have those bugs on Mars. They could evolve that way.
And so who was it who said that it would be a big surprise if there wasn't life on Mars? That would be weird, actually, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. This guy, Charlie Cockell, he's a leading planetary scientist and expert on life on Mars. His other claim to fame was back in 1990 when he was still quite young. There was a general election in Britain at the time, and the Prime Minister was John Major, blast from the past, eh? And Charlie was talking to his mates and saying, we really ought to go to Mars. And they persuaded him to found the Forward to Mars political party. And he actually stood in the Prime Minister's constituency at the general election against the Prime Minister, standing on street corners telling everybody coming out of the supermarket why we need to go to Mars. And he got 91 votes. The Prime Minister got a few more.
Nigel, thank you so much. You've resurrected my love for Mars. Wonderful, wonderful. Now we've got Heidi waiting to come on now, so thank you so much, and thank you for joining the SPA. You're our newest superstar member. Really great to have you back as a member, Nigel. Right, okay.
It's all going to be a bundle. I know it's going to be a bundle of fun.
You said that right. Okay, now then, what's on your shirt tonight, Nigel?
It's more flowers, just
more
different flowers from last time. Look, it's all summery.
Oh, that's nice. Well, I'm repeating my space t-shirts now, but repeats are good enough for the BBC. God, how many times have I shown only fools and horses? So it's good enough to repeat my t-shirt. So here's mine this evening. Can you actually, can you see what is rising over the horizon? What could it be?
It could be. It's either a black hole or Mars. It's sort of round and reddish. It's the black hole, Ray.
In M7. So I know it's slightly old-fashioned now, this t-shirt is, but it's still pretty cool though, isn't it?
Oh, I know. I mean, that's one of the greatest discoveries of recent years. So flaunt it.
Oh, this is a pretty cosmic image of me right now.
The moon, the stars, and the black hole. Vicky's got it all.
I really, really have. Yeah. So, like, I used to wear this for festivals. If anybody went, "Hey, that's a cool t-shirt," I would immediately latch onto them. Nigel, sweetie darling, it's been lovely seeing you. Thank you so much. I hope you get some clear skies this weekend to observe the beautiful red planet at its closest to the Earth.
Thanks very much, Vicky. See you
Bye,
soon.
Nigel. Bye. Bye. Yeah. Great news that Nigel's rejoined the SPA. So I thought I'd get him on again to just because he's great now, friend of the SPA. Wonderful. So we have got, or I have got, some space lyrics for you. Don't Google them. See if you can tell me what's well-known-ish, if you were born in the 60s or the 70s. Space song this should be from. Okay, I'm not going to sing it, even though it's tempting. Please, interstellar policeman. Actually, I'll read it in a way that it was definitely not sang, okay, to throw you even more. Please, interstellar policeman, won't you give us a sign that we've reached you? Oh, do. With your mind, you have the ability to form and transmit thought energy far beyond the norm. You close your eyes, you concentrate together. That's the way to send the message we declare. World Contact Day. It sounded like Captain Kirk then. If you know what that song is, drop it in the comments. Right, okay, onwards to our next guest, Heidi Thiemann. She is researching binary stars which might merge and explode in the future. She's also director of the Space Skills Alliance, an organisation tackling the UK's space skills shortage. There is a large shortage of skills in the space sector, and both myself and Heidi and various other organisations are on a drive to let people know how amazing it is to work in the space sector. Not just astronomy, there's lots and lots going on in the UK space sector. So that's what we're going to be chatting with Heidi about. So she's coming on any minute now. 3, 2, 1. Heidi.
Hi, Vicky. Oh, you just read out the lyrics to one of my favourite songs.
Did I? Shh, top secret.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you.
It's good, isn't it? It's a nice song, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Heidi, the last time we met was at the UK Space Conference exactly a year ago. That's a shame, isn't it?
I have no idea where the time has gone. It seemed like it's just whizzed past. I can't believe it. And your energy still continued.
Thank you. So I decided about 18 months ago that I was doing local business marketing, and I decided that I wanted to work in the space sector and discovered that there is this vast world. Heidi, what is it like to work in the space sector? It is immense, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely growing, and there are just so many exciting things. So, I mean, 10, 15 years ago, we didn't even have a UK space agency. Now we have a UK space agency. The government wants us to have 10% of the global market in, just under 10 years now. It's booming, got Earth observation, like apps taking all the space data and using them. And astronomy is obviously fantastic. We've got a black hole, like one on your T-shirt there.
Yes.
I love it.
Thank you. So just give us I think the thing is, most people don't know that there is a space industry that is commercialized, that you can go and pick up a job in practically anything. I mean, if I can find work in it, there's hope for anybody, isn't there?
There really is. And I think a lot of people don't really understand, or kind of, maybe when you think of space, you immediately think you've got to be a rocket scientist, you've got to be an astronaut or an astronomer to be in space. But every space company is a business. You can literally do the finances or the law for a space company, and you're still kind of in the hub of the space activities, going to all these space events. We've got space artists. You're essentially a space videographer and journalist, so you can tell that just from us two, there's a huge range.
There is, and there's a vacuum of talent. They need people to be applying for these jobs to take the UK forward onto a global stage and to help us stay competitive. And it is phenomenal. So myself and Heidi met at the UK Space Conference, was held every 2 years. Who knows whether it will be next year? And it was by far the biggest conference that I've ever been to in my life. It was massive, wasn't it?
It was huge, and they even had a giant moon in the kind of foyer area. That was fantastic, as well as all the people, of course, but the moon was great.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about what you do then, Heidi.
So I have a few different hats, I think, like a lot of us. So with my Space Skills Alliance role, I'm a director of this small company we set up, and what we're trying to do is essentially tackle the skills shortage and improve hiring and best practice in the UK space sector to try and encourage more people to actually come and work in the space sector. And for those that are already in the sector, we want to keep them here because it's exciting and it's growing and we need people working in it. And then when I'm not doing that, I'm also doing a PhD in astrophysics. So I'm at the Open University when we're allowed in, obviously working from home at the moment. But I work on binary stars and all types of variable stars and ones which might merge and explode and hopefully form mini supernovae called red novae, which are very rare, actually. There's only been around 16 possible red novae ever identified, and probably people will be quite familiar with one of them, and it's the 2002 V838 Mon event, that huge, amazing eruption, which, if you look it up, you'll definitely recognize the image. It's now thought that was caused by two binary stars colliding and exploding and throwing out all this gas and dust. So yeah, I do astronomy and I also try and keep the industry going. So there's more tasks.
Wow. Okay. So you popped back to my attention because I got a census from you about skills in the UK space sector. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so this is a project which we've been quite excited to be starting. It's essentially a census or a survey of hopefully the entire UK space workforce. So we know a small amount about who's working in the space sector. We know a lot about the financial side. We know lists of companies and where they are and what they're doing, but we don't know anything about the people. And since this is a diversity special, we don't really have any diversity statistics whatsoever. We have a rough idea of how many women there are. We have a rough idea of maybe some sort of ethnicity splits, but that's about it. It's rough ideas. We don't know anyone. We don't have statistics on how many disabled people there are in the space sector. And we don't know also socioeconomic backgrounds or caring backgrounds that people have to deal with day to day and how that could impact their work. So the 2020 Space Census is essentially an attempt to capture the UK workforce, all the people in it, ask them how they're doing and what their thoughts are and how they actually kind of cope day to day with different things. And hopefully we'll get a huge amount of information and we'll be able to put it all together and pop that into government and hopefully have some best strategy and practice that can go in and be used day to day. So again, it's something that's quite exciting.
Wow. Okay. So tell us a little bit more then about the current demographics. Have you got any statistics? Is it 1 in 4 is female? Is that about right?
Yeah, it's about right. It depends on where you're looking. So this is the kind of rough statistics. We know that maybe towards the engineering and the electrical engineering and coding side, we have very few women. But towards the Earth observation side, we actually have a lot more women. And we don't really know why. But on average, it's about 1 in 4, 1 in 3 people in the sector are women, which again, not we don't have the best statistics on it. So that's what we're trying to find out. So we do have quite a lot of data coming in. I can't share it with you right now, but it's kind of looking along those lines.
Okay, so let's just talk about some of the kinds of jobs that people can do just to inspire people and get them thinking. Because you also run a portal, don't you, Space Careers, where all of the space jobs are.
Yeah, so it's a website we set up about 5 years ago, actually, exactly 5 years ago, to coincide with the launch of Tim Peake going up to the International Space Station for the very first time. So we launched a Space Careers website to help young people and anyone get an idea about jobs in space and what you can do. And we've had everything on there from space artists to obviously literally rocket scientists. We have space lawyers, people do the finances of all the companies. I think one of my favorite ones that has come through has actually been one that's really recent, and it's the European Space Agency wants someone who's an expert in meat. And they want to try and work out how we feed astronauts on long duration missions. So if anyone's an expert in meat and long duration food, then I mean, go for that job. It's weird, but cool.
Wow. So yeah, what other cool jobs are there that you can think of then?
Oh, I've listed a few. I think one kind of link to the space lawyer side is the people that work on planetary protection, and actually making sure that we're monitoring all the space junk and the asteroids going around the Earth. So there's you'll know Dins from Norse.
Oh yes,
Northern
we'll have to get
Security.
him on, actually. Yeah, we'll have to get him on.
Yeah, because you did a great video with them recently, I saw, and it's that type of job where you use kind of astronomy skills mixed with kind of space regulation and military tracking, bring it all together, and you're tracking all this junk that's going around the Earth, and also all the good satellites too. I think that's quite a cool job. And there's been so many on there. I think the astronomy jobs are cool because I'm an astronomer, so I'm a bit biased there.
Yeah, I mean they look for they have orbital analysts and space lawyers, which is pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, it's amazing.
I'm just having a quick look here on the Space Careers website. I'm just going to list a couple of the jobs that come straight to the top. So there's a space software engineer, embedded systems engineer, geospatial data analysis, junior Earth observation engineer. There is so much stuff. Content writers like what I do, the creative stuff, like you say, outreach. There is so much stuff going on, and I'm of the opinion that you can pretty much transfer almost any type of job into the space sector and it will absorb you and take you on. And best of all, you'll be doing a job. Oh.
Yeah, you're completely right. And I think we did some research a while back with the Space Skills Alliance, and some of the work the things we found were that it's not necessarily people being hired for what they know, it's being hired for what they can do. It's the skills you have, it's the transferable skills, the fact you can work in a team or you can take on a new challenge. That's what people want. So obviously, yes, you want to be keen on space and probably if you want to be a rocket scientist, you probably want to be an engineer. But there's loads of other things where you can kind of take anything you do in your day job or your study at the moment and transfer it to space. And you'll be flying, you'll be away. Because a lot of people don't realize that space is like any other business. It's just up there.
Yeah, just up there. That's a good way of putting it. Oh, Heidi, well, who knows? We might get to meet each other again soon. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
I hope so, yeah. I mean, let's hope the next year's conference is on.
And just to give Heidi a plug, when I was making videos alongside you and threw the camera on you, you were impeccable. And I said, Heidi, you really should look into being a video blogger as well. I think Heidi has definitely got Sky at Night presenter potential.
Oh, well, I will have to get on to Chris Lintott about that and give him a shout.
Well, all the best. I'll do you a reference on your CV.
Oh, thank you.
Right, our next guest is Lucy. Do you know Lucy?
I have known Lucy since, I'd say about 8 or 9 years ago. So I've known her for quite a while when we were both much younger.
Oh, very good, very good. Heidi, I hope you get some amazing clear skies. See all manner of wonderful things in the sky this weekend. And it's been wonderful having you on. And good luck with the census. Just tell us once again where people can go if they want to get a space job.
Yeah, well, if you go to spacecareers.uk, you can look at space jobs there. If you want to take part in the census, I'm going to give that a quick plug. It's census.spaceskills.org. So 2 links to there.
Excellent. Catch you later, Heidi. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye. I tell you what, there are so many jobs in the space sector. Definitely have a look at that. I came to quite a large career crossroads a couple of years ago when I realized I wasn't particularly happy and decided that I was going to follow my calling. And I realized, well, what am I good at? I'm good at video. I love space. Let's combine the two things. And here I am as the presenter on Pop Astro Live, making videos for space clients around the world and loving my job. So then we are going on to our third and final guest this evening. We are going on to Lucy. She is assistant editor at the RAS, working on the journal monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society. Lucy is also a disability advocate. And the last time I saw Lucy, she was throwing herself at Tim Peake. So here she comes. Hello, Lucy.
Hiya. How are you?
I'm really good. Have you managed to recover from meeting Tim Peake yet?
Not quite. It's still my Twitter profile picture, and probably will be potentially forever. It's still still very exciting. Still can't quite believe that happened. It was very
I'm
just
so
super
glad
exciting.
I'm so glad that I actually saw that moment with my own, that I was there to witness you, because we were at the space conference this time last year, and there was it's like, when ants flock around the bit of sugar, loads of people just swarming around. Wherever we went, there was like this knot of people. And suddenly he was there at the BIS stand, the British Interplanetary stand. And I just saw you going,
it was just like, it's when you're just so used to seeing someone on a screen, or just when you see them in real life, it's just like, oh my gosh, there's a real human being.
Do you know, I get that fangirl feeling when I see Saturn through a telescope. It's like you're looking at a famous person.
Yeah, so true.
Because you see Saturn on pictures, and it's like one of the most familiar planets from childhood. And then when it's there down the eyepiece, and you kind of might have this weird disconnected feeling, like a celebrity has just walked down
like, oh my
the
gosh,
end of
it's
your
real.
telescope.
Yeah. They've not been making it up.
It's real, yeah. Oh, Lucy, so whereabouts are you this evening then?
I'm coming to you from London in my home. Yeah, which is nice. But sadly quite a lot of light pollution around here, but can still see a few stars.
Well, thank you. Oh, there you go. Look on the positive side. So tell us a little bit more about what you do then, because this the journal that you do, I remember being interested in that this time last year. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I'm an assistant editor on, well, I call it MNRAS. Is like a whole, everyone calls it something different. Some people say like MNRAS or just monthly lotuses or whatever. We all call it different, but I call it MNRAS. So we're an academic journal. So we are one of the biggest astronomy ones. So we just post all the new exciting research. So as an assistant editor, I handle the new submissions and just oversee the peer review process essentially. So it's good fun. Yeah.
I mean, tell us a little bit more about the Royal Astronomical Society actually, and the history of that then.
Yeah, so this year was our bicentenary, so started 200 years ago. And then the journals, in its initial form, it was called, what was it called? Oh no, I should remember that. That started about 193 years ago, I think. Yeah, it was just called Notices of the Royal Astronomical Society, I think. So, and then it became monthly, and now it's not monthly anymore, and it's not Notices of the Royal Astronomical Society, but we've kept the name. So it's a few times a month now we publish, and now it's all just online. So yeah, kind of just pre-COVID we went online only, and now that seems quite fitting because everything else is.
How's COVID affected the RAS then?
Well, the journal's not particularly, but other areas of RAS, outreach and things, but they're just doing it online, so that also works. We had quite a few things planned because it's the bicentenary, which have either gone virtual or haven't happened, but still pushing ahead, still plenty to do just online.
You're never going to get to blow out that cake with 200 candles on there, are you?
No. Oh my gosh, the thought of doing that now is really disgusting, isn't it? Blowing on a cake.
God. Oh, birthday cakes.
Yeah.
When you see crowd images on TV at the minute, and they just make you go like that, don't they?
Oh yeah, it makes me feel sick, the thought of being in a big crowd. Yeah, it's strange how completely different our lives are. Yeah, compared to this time last year when we were at the conference, that was thousands of people.
Thousands of people all breathing the same air as Tim Pink. So, what areas of astronomy are you into then, Lucy?
So I did a physics and astronomy master's degree. So I finished that 2 years ago. So that I was kind of, I was mostly just interested in the astronomy out of the physics and space part. I was always for or whatever space I could find. So I found it all quite interesting, really. Not a sort of, I wasn't I'm only interested in black holes, for example. It was all pretty cool to me. But I think what I'm more interested now is more getting everyone interested in space. Like it's not just kind of what, as you were talking about with Heidi, not like just what you think of when you think of an astronomer. It's like also opening it up to everybody. And I'm like, well, particularly disabled people is what I'm pushing for, kind of, as I'm visually impaired myself. And it's definitely, you know, it is harder. Like university was harder. Like courses aren't set up for disabled people. So, you know, but like the more people who go in, and the more they will be. Like now my university, now they had a visually impaired physics student, now they're more set up for that. So, you know, they got me like an oscilloscope for labs, which had like bigger buttons and things. And now, you know, if they get another visually impaired person, then they'll be all ready. So it's like, yeah, it's just kind of showing that space is for everybody, and everyone can do it. Yeah, you don't need to just be, yeah, what you see as an astronomer on the TV, but those things are changing, so that's good.
That's so sweet. That's just amazing. So tell us a little bit more about the Light Year Foundation that you are a role model for.
Oh yeah, so they're so great. So they work to encourage more disabled people or children into STEM, and showing that STEM is for everyone. So they run lots of workshops and like experience days for disabled children, and then they have role models like me. So if anyone wants to look it up, there's like a whole page of role models on their website, which shows like lots of different disabled people who in STEM and what they're doing and how they got there, and then also what like how their disabilities actually like helped them in STEM. So for example, like I'm like solving problems every day to make sure I can do everything with my vision. So like, how do I get from A to B without being able to like see like road signs, for example, or like in a cafe, like I can't see like the menu behind like the checkout. So it's like, oh, what do I do there? It's like I'm constantly solving problems, and that's like really useful for physics and space, which is all solving problems. Yeah, so we're great, and like disabled people have lots of great skills. So yeah, I have a few slides actually. Shall I?
Oh yeah. Oh,
shall
good
I
luck.
share them? Is this going to work?
Bane of my life. Go on, try it. Right. Can you see anything? Yeah, it's there now. Do you know, while I've got you on, Lucy, I'm going to need to do some live troubleshooting for myself, because I can't show PowerPoint on my thing, and I'm getting quite vexed. Can you put that full screen? Do you know how to do that?
Let's see if it lets me do it here.
Yeah, so the slides aren't down the side. Let's have a look. That's it. What did you just press then? Yes, it did.
I mean, I just went on PowerPoint. Did it usually on PowerPoint?
Right. Okay. I'll go full screen with Lady Jump Cannon there. Full screen. There we go. Fire away.
Fab. Yeah. So I thought I'd talk about a couple disabled people in science from history. So Annie Jump Cannon, yeah, she was born in 1863, so a while back. And she worked, her work was instrumental in developing the way we classify stars. So she came up with the spectral classes. Don't know if you've heard of them, the OBA, FGKM. And yeah, she was part of, I talk about this in the next slide, but like the Harvard computers, which were women who were hired by Harvard to basically go through like tons and tons of data and classify lots of stars, basically. So she manually classified more stars than anyone else, so around 350,000. And she discovered 300 variable stars, 5 novas, and a spectroscopic binary. And she was deaf. So not only did kind of during this time, particularly like it was, particularly harder for women, she then also had the disability. So it's like really, really amazing what she did. And then also similarly, Henrietta Swan Leavitt, which I think more people might have heard of. She discovered the period luminosity relationship for Cepheid variables, which Hubble then used to develop Hubble's law. So like really amazing. And she was also deaf. And yeah, like Annie, she was a member of the Harvard computers. So brilliant work. And then there's a few other people. So like you've got Stephen Hawking, like everyone's heard of, but there were many other disabled people who have done amazing things in astronomy. So yeah, we've got Edwin Frost, who was director of an observatory in Wisconsin and also an editor of the Astrophysical Journal. So he became blind during his career, but carried on working for 11 years, which shows that it's totally doable. And then also a man called John Goodrick, who did one of the, so that he's 1764, so a really long time ago. He did some early observations of a variable star, and he also became deaf. And I have also Wanda, so she's like a modern astronomer around now, Wanda Diaz-Merced. She's like totally amazing. She did a talk at RAS actually, but it happened last year, but it happened to be when I was on holiday, and it was very sad that I missed it. But yeah, she's so great. She's done a TED talk. I'd encourage like everyone to go and watch that after this. So she went blind as an undergrad, but she didn't want to leave astronomy. So she found a way essentially that she could continue with it by realizing that she could change, like light curves are kind of just a list of numbers really of like the intensity. So she just translated that into sound. So this is called like sonification. And actually that's shown that kind of even like sighted people, like whereas you might not notice like trends in a light curve from looking at it, like you can sometimes hear discrepancies easier. So like it's basically great for everybody. So she said science is for everyone. It has to be available for everyone because we are all natural explorers. So she's great. What else did I got here? Oh yeah, so some current great initiatives that various people are doing to make astronomy more accessible. So we've mentioned Lighter Foundation. A specific one to astronomy, we have Tactile Universe, who they create 3D printed tactile images of galaxies. So people who are blind and visually impaired can, get involved in astronomy. And then also, I think you had the guy who set up Astronomy Without Borders on last week. They had, yeah. So they also have some like great resources about making things more inclusive to disabled people. And then there's also this You Can Do Astronomy thing that I hadn't heard of, and they look like they're pretty good. There's a book called Everyone's Universe, A Guide to Accessible Astronomy Places. So I've not read it, but sounds like that could be really useful if people are running astronomy events.
So Lucy, how as you're partially sighted, how do you adapt your astronomy?
So shall I stop showing the screen for a bit? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, did you have more slides? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, we can go back. We can go back to them. We can have a nice pause. Because it's a good question. Well, so kind of it's almost like I've built these skills up over time. So like during school, I had to always ask teachers to like write bigger or write like in black or dark blue. But if I was sat at the front and they wrote bigger, then I could kind of see that. And they would I would get them to blow up any worksheets. So they were like on A3. So I had all these like massive sheets of paper walking around school. But that meant, so I can read small text, but it just strains my eyes. So that's why bigger text is better. And then when I went to university, that's when it becomes a bit harder because it's not like you can go stand right in front of the board. But I had some equipment, which meant I could like zoom in and see the board a bit better. So that was okay. And then like labs, we kind of adapted. But this is why astronomy is so great. So because like whereas other labs were quite difficult, like small electronics and things, when we did astronomy, it was kind of more of a level playing field because it's mostly on a computer. We went up and used the telescopes, but I could sit close to the computer or the telescope and to see what I was doing. So that's what's extra great about astronomy, I think. It's a bit more accessible just by nature. I mean, like looking up at the sky, I can't see as much. Like, I don't know. I think most people with an astronomy background can like name more things in the sky than I can because I just can't see them. So I'm like, I don't know the name of that constellation because I can't see it. But like, I can see, I can see some dots in the sky and like I can make out the moon and things. So that's exciting enough. But then that's what's great about kind of the more like astrophysics side is that once you've got the data in, it's all the same level playing field kind of thing. And then I mean, yeah, that's what's so great about astronomy, I think, is that it's a bit more accessible.
What a great spokesperson you are. Do you want to nip back to your slides then?
Yes, I can't remember what else I had, but let's see.
Astronomy is empowering. There we go. Right. And you're going to press the magic button then. Okay.
Cool. Right. Can we see that?
Yeah.
Good. Oh, yes. So why is it important? So as Heidi was saying, we don't really have data for like the kind of space world, but there is data for kind of the general public. So this is for the UK. So about 19% of working age adults are disabled and 45% of pension age adults are disabled. And like anyone can develop a disability at any point. So which is the kind of makes it slightly more different from other marginalized groups, for example. But really, this just shows the amount of people. Like if you're not being inclusive to disabled people, you're cutting out between 20 and nearly 50% of the population. And as I was saying before, like disabled people have all these sort of different skills they can bring to the table. So that's why it's so important. Oh yes, but there is this recent study by Osnat Katz and a few other people. It's a really, really super recent thing, but like so you can see it if you look up the RAS poster competition. There's this one here. Back again. So this was a study of amateur astronomy, like of the community. So yeah, of the respondents, 90% were male and 79% white, 10% disabled, and 6.5% LGBTQIA plus. So, and yes, when they were asked to rate how welcome astronomy was, they find that like people who are in more of the marginalized groups find it less welcoming. So that's not great, but it shows like if we've got the data, then we can like start thinking about what we can do to make it more inclusive. So I had a few.
I remember filling in that survey actually.
Yeah. They sent it around. It's all kind of in the UK. I think, and they sent it around lots and lots of different societies. So I'm sure, some people watching this would have filled that out, which is great. So I have a few things of what people can do. So like as an individual, making sure like your social media posts are accessible. So I have another little slide about that I can talk about if people are interested in that. But it's things like if you're putting up images, making sure they have like alt text, that's alternative text, and that's read out by screen readers, which blind and some visually impaired people use. So it's just like a description of what the image is. So it's like on Twitter, it has it just when you upload it, it's a bit more obvious. In Instagram, you have to like go into advanced settings, but it is there, they do have it. And it's also things like in your everyday language, just being a bit more inclusive. So not using things like, oh, they were blind to the fact that, because then that's just like using the word blind as like a negative thing, or like that was mental, that was crazy. And then also things like, oh, it's not rocket science, and they refer to things because that's people saying that they think space and astronomy is only for like really, really clever people, which isn't true. And then also
okay.
Sorry, just some water. And then just advocating where possible. So like if you're at an event and you notice it's not inclusive, like kind of asking why, because if it's not accessible, then the person who needs those access requirements wouldn't be able to go. So like they wouldn't be able to be there and advocate for themselves, for example. And then also like if you're running an event, so this is more kind of pre or post COVID times, but I've got a few bits about online. So like always just give lots of details about the event beforehand, and then people can judge what they might need. So and then just giving an opportunity for that person to ask or tell you what they need. And it's just generally being approachable. Like if you're more approachable and friendly in emails, then people are going to be more comfortable with telling you about like disclosing their disability essentially. It's also say reserving seating for like people like me who are visually impaired, who might want to sit at the front. And it's also just having more rest breaks and like little quiet rooms. And then using microphones and inductive loops if you're like say running in a local astronomy group and you have a lecture, because then people who like are deaf or have hard of hearing will be able to be included. And online, it's just having captions and transcripts of videos if possible. Yeah, so I don't know, if people have more specific questions, I can answer them. But yeah, that's kind of a few ideas of what people can be kind of on an individual, and then also like if you are running an event level.
And the tweaks are so simple, and yet we forget.
Yeah.
So thank you
Definitely.
for drawing our attention to that. Thank you so much. Lucy, maybe one time soon we can press gang Tim Peake again.
Yeah, that would be fun. We'll find him.
Oh, it's so nice. It's so lovely to see you, and thank you for coming on tonight and just helping us make astronomy, our wonderful hobby that we all love so much, more accessible. Because the more people that we can get into it, the more friends we can make. Yeah, I like friends.
Exactly. For sure. Yeah,
Lucy,
thanks for having me on.
Okay, well, catch you later. Thank you so much for coming on. All right then.
Thanks, Vicky.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, Gwyneth says, thank you, Lucy. Gwyneth Hooter says, thank you.
Gwyneth.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Oh, I'm already missing Lucy. Yeah, definitely one of my absolute #1 people that I've ever interviewed, mainly because she was so starstruck. I managed to video blog her seconds after meeting Tim Peake, and she was just like, I met Tim Peake. Very, very endearing. Okay, excellent. That was Pop Astro Live. How was it for you, popular astronomers? If you saw me today, I did a video earlier. You can scroll down to the Pop Astro feed. Very excitedly opening my new T-shirt from the SPA shop. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, really good advice from Lucy. Just at the end of your emails to your society, put, if anybody needs accessibility, we welcome it. So yeah, I think that really needs to even go on my emails that I'm sending out, actually. Really interesting talk, Lucy. Thank you. It was great, wasn't it? We feel empowered. Yeah, so today I got my new T-shirt from the SPA, my beautiful new long-sleeved Astronomy is Looking Up T-shirt. And I thought, I've lost a bit of weight. I can go down to medium now from large. Anyway, this thing, I opened it on camera, quite a funny video actually, and came back onto camera, and it was like I'd been poured into, like, I can't describe what it was like. It was the tightest item of clothing I've worn ever. I constricted my breathing. Earlier, somebody actually said that I needed cutting out of it. I think I did. Terms and conditions apply. Our stuff from the SPA shop fits brilliantly. It's just I ordered a size down out of pure vanity. I'm definitely not a medium. So there you go. Thank you, Nina. Oh, can I confirm the song lyrics? I'll do it for you now. Hang on a minute. Let me go back. Please, interstellar policeman. Oh, won't you give us a sign? Give us a sign that we've reached you. Oh, do. With your mind, you have ability to form and transmit thought energy far beyond the norm. You close your eyes, you concentrate. Together, that's the way to send the message. We declare World Contact Day. Karen Carpenter did not sing it like that. It was calling occupants of interplanetary craft. Brilliant, brilliant piece of music. And that's my favorite line from it. To send the message, we declare World Contact Day. Wow, brilliant. Was World Contact Day even a thing? Sounds like something Carl Sagan might have been involved in. That's what it was. Yeah, the Carpenters, although Klaatu did it first, so I'm led to believe. Thank you, Vicky. Oh, thank you, Gerard from Dark Whittle. You're out on a peninsula. That'll be why. Okay, share this video. Thank you for all your lovely comments, everybody. Thank you to Nigel. Thank you to Heidi. Thank you to Lucy. Good song in it. Go and play it. We'll be back next week. I'm glad to see my internet held out. Thank you to the cosmic backdrop, the black hole, and do join the SPA and share this video. Great stuff. Got to go back now, popular astronomers. Look how dark and lonely it is here. I told you I'm in a laundrette. Did you believe me? Look how dark and lonely it is. I am on a holiday park out in Anglesey, right at the very far end. Complete bleak silence. This is my little bit of respite each week. I absolutely love it, and I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Bye, everybody. Bye. Got little tears in my eyes. Don't want to go. Press the button, and I just have to go back home on my own, and it's scary and dark. Thanks, everybody. Bye.